In the bustling heart of a West African city, where the sun beats down with relentless fervor, a man named Ezekiel stood beside his humble cart. His face, etched with the lines of hardship, was a testament to the daily grind. Yet, a quiet dignity radiated from him, a stark contrast to the chaotic symphony of urban life that swirled around. His trade was simple: oranges, gleaming, vibrant globes of citrus piled high, a splash of sunshine against the dusty streets. Each morning, before the city awoke, Ezekiel would carefully select his fruit, his hands moving with a practiced grace, choosing only the best for his customers. His life was a thread woven with struggle. Living in a modest shack on the city's fringe, every sale, every coin dropped into his worn leather pouch, was a small victory against the tide of poverty. Some days, the sun was too harsh, the customers too few. Other days, rain would turn the streets to mud, washing away potential profits. Yet, through it all, Ezekiel held on to one thing more precious than any amount of money: his integrity. It was the bedrock of his character, an unshakable principle in a world that often seemed to reward the opposite. One sweltering afternoon, a sleek, black car purred to a stop near his cart. The window glided down, revealing a man in a crisp, tailored suit. This was Daniel Okoye, a man whose name was synonymous with success in the city's business circles. He was on his way to a crucial meeting, but the sight of the vibrant oranges had caught his eye, a refreshing thought in the stifling heat. "I'll take a dozen," he said, his voice smooth and accustomed to command. Ezekiel, with a respectful nod, began to bag the oranges. His hands, calloused and strong, moved with an expert's touch. He weighed the bag, his eyes scanning the fruit. Then he paused. He reached in, pulled out one of the oranges, and examined it closely. His brow furrowed slightly. He felt its weight, its skin. It was just a little too light, a little less plump than the others. To an undiscerning eye, it was perfect. But to Ezekiel, it fell short of his own high standard. Without a moment's hesitation, he replaced it with a larger, juicier orange from his pile. Daniel Okoye, watching this small, silent transaction from his car, was intrigued. In his world, people were always trying to get an edge, to cut corners, to give a little less for a little more. This orange seller's simple act of honesty was a rare and surprising sight. "Why did you do that?" Daniel asked, his curiosity piqued. "The first one looked fine to me." Ezekiel looked up, his gaze direct and clear. "Sir, it was not the best. You are paying for good fruit, so you must receive good fruit. My conscience would not let me sell you something that is not my best." The words, spoken with such simple sincerity, struck a chord deep within Daniel. This wasn't a performance. It was a glimpse into the man's soul. Here was a man who, despite his poverty, possessed a wealth of character that many in Daniel's own world lacked. In that moment, Daniel saw more than just an orange seller. He saw potential. He saw a foundation of trust that was priceless. The business meeting faded from Daniel's mind. An idea, bold and unconventional, began to form. He looked at Ezekiel, truly looked at him, and saw a future beyond the fruit cart. "What is your name?" he asked. "Ezekiel, sir." "Ezekiel," Daniel repeated, a smile touching his lips. "I own a logistics company. I need people I can trust, people with integrity, people like you. The job I'm thinking of is a simple one to start, managing inventory in one of our warehouses. But it requires absolute honesty. Would you be interested in a different kind of work?" Ezekiel was stunned into silence. He stared at the well-dressed man in the air-conditioned car, the offer hanging in the hot, humid air between them. It was a lifeline, a door opening to a world he had only ever dreamed of. It was a chance, not just for a steady wage, but for a life where his children wouldn't have to face the same uncertainties he did. Tears welled in his eyes, but he blinked them back, his voice thick with emotion when he finally spoke. "Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I would be honored." The following Monday, Ezekiel traded his dusty street corner for the clean, organized aisles of a massive warehouse. The work was demanding, the environment unfamiliar. He was surrounded by forklifts and towering shelves of goods, a far cry from his simple cart of oranges. But he applied the same principle that had guided his life thus far: unwavering honesty. He meticulously counted every item, documented every shipment, and reported every discrepancy, no matter how small. A misplaced box, a miscounted pallet, nothing escaped his diligent watch. His colleagues, at first, were skeptical. Some saw his meticulousness as unnecessary, even a bit strange. But soon, his reputation for reliability and trustworthiness began to spread throughout the company. Management noticed that the warehouse under Ezekiel's watch had the lowest rates of inventory loss and the highest accuracy in its records. His integrity was not just a moral compass. It became a tangible asset to the company. Promotions followed. From inventory clerk, he rose to warehouse supervisor, then to regional logistics manager. Each step up the ladder was earned not through ambition or politics, but through a consistent and dependable display of character. Ezekiel never forgot the lesson of the light orange. Always give your best. Always be true. Years passed. Ezekiel was no longer the struggling man by the roadside. He was a respected executive with a comfortable life, a loving family, and the means to make a real difference. But he never forgot where he came from. The memory of the sun-baked streets, the taste of dust, and the desperation of poverty were etched into his memory. He knew he had a responsibility to give back, to create opportunities for others, just as Daniel Okoye had done for him. He returned to his old neighborhood, not as a visitor, but as a benefactor. He established a foundation dedicated to providing scholarships for children and offering small business loans to aspiring entrepreneurs. He wanted to give them the one thing he never had, a fair start. One of his first projects was to create a co-op for the local fruit vendors. He helped them source better quality produce, provided them with modern, hygienic carts, and taught them the principles of fair trade and customer service that had so profoundly changed his own life. One afternoon, visiting the co-op, he saw a young boy, no older than his own son, diligently arranging a stack of mangoes on a cart. The boy paused, picked up one of the mangoes, and studied it with a frown, just as Ezekiel had done with the orange all those years ago. He then replaced it with a better one from the back. Ezekiel smiled, a deep, knowing smile. He saw himself in that boy. He saw the future. He walked over and bought a dozen mangoes, leaving a generous tip. The seed of honesty, planted long ago with a single orange, had grown into a forest of integrity, its branches reaching out to shelter and nurture an entire community. Ezekiel's legacy was not in the corporate titles he had held, but in the simple, powerful truth that character is the greatest currency of all. Thank you for watching. If this story inspired you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that celebrates the best of humanity.